This video is dedicated to discussing recipient sites specifically for the hairline. How do we transform a gentleman with no hair on his head to a gentleman with a full head of hair and also with a beautiful framing natural hairline? Well, first we have to define what we're talking about. The hairline really isn't a line, but it's a zone of transition as you see in this illustration here in the dark green. The best way to think of a hairline is to liken it to a coastline. A coastline from a far distance, you can actually see the shape and pattern of the coastline, but as you get closer, it becomes a very craggy and difficult to follow line with little outcroppings and jetties and insets and eddies, and all this little cragginess is how you should define a hairline, which is the fact that it's irregularly irregular. There isn't a consistent smooth pattern to it on close inspection. This illustration shows the overall pattern and shape of a hairline that's likened to the coastline, but as you get in close inspection, you see the recipient sites that actually make up the hairline are actually irregularly irregular in shape and pattern, with little sentinel hairs that stand out free-floating in front of the hairline that are very similar to the outcroppings that define a normal coastline. Here are some photographs that show the recipient sites along the hairline resembling this irregular pattern, but also that same tight interlock pattern to create a wall of density as well. So what makes up a natural hairline? Here is a gentleman on the left. As you see, he's had 4 transplants done in another place. And first of all, the angles are unnatural. There's also a very straight line appearance to the hairline. What we did in one session was to soften the angle and the distribution so that the hairline actually looks natural appearing. And that's very, very important, following the principle of a coastline of the irregularly irregular patterns as well as the sporadic sentinel hair. Here's another gentleman with another straight hairline that appears unnatural from a prior hair transplant done elsewhere. As you can see, the angles have been improved. The way that the grafts have been handled has been improved so that there isn't the compression and the pitting that is seen. But more even important than that, you can actually see that the hairline has been irregularized into a coastline effect so that the pattern appears absolutely seamlessly natural. Here's another example of a hairline of a patient who already had hair transplant. It's a normal, regular looking hairline, but there isn't much density. When we applied significant density to this gentleman in one session, we also were able to maintain the natural appearing irregular pattern of his hairline, and I think also improve the angulation of his grafts. Another example here of a gentleman with significant alopecia who we were able to correct with a lot of density, but at the same time also be able to achieve that irregular pattern of his hairline with sentinel hairs. Here's an Asian gentleman who has hair loss, and as you can see, after the one session of a hair transplant, we're able to create significant density, but at the same time maintain that irregular coastline. Let's talk about female hairlines. Female hairlines are very different from male hairlines, especially most females exhibit a cowlick or their central swirl to the hairline, which I recreate very, very carefully and precisely. I follow all the natural curvature and the shape of the female hairline to create more of a feminine look to the hairline in a woman. Here are the recipient sites from a frontal view for this lady who had a very significant cowlick, and this cowlick was recreated precisely so that we also maintained the irregular pattern of the frontal hairline, but at the same time also shaped the hairline to match the natural cowlick swirl. Here's that same woman on the left side. As you can see here, there is a natural transition from the cowlick, the lateral hairline, and blending into the temple area. On the other side, you can also see the cowlick, but the hairline also transitions downward to match the temple angles precisely. Here is another female hairline close up, showing the recipient sites that match the cowlick pattern that we talked about before. Finally, here is a final outcome of a woman 1 year out after hair restoration, showing the cowlick and the design of the female hairline recreated precisely. I hope this video on how to create a natural appearing hairline using recipient sites that mimic a coastline was informative for you.